Spontaneity Shop presents The Guilty Feminist 10 for 10 with me, Deborah Frances-White, and my very special guest, Susan Wokoma. Susan Wokoma, welcome to 10 for 10 here at The Guilty Feminist. We are 10 years old and we're inviting back 10 of our most regular contributors to come and sit on my sofa in my home where we normally don't do the podcast.
We don't do it here.
To reminisce and look to the future. Thank you so much for coming.
Pleasure. Thank you for inviting me to your sofa. This is actually where I had my 30th birthday party.
You did.
Right here, filled with lots and lots of friends. Quite early in our friendship, actually.
I think we'd only known each other for...
I think about a year.
A year or so?
You were straight in, and it worked.
A year or so, yes. In fact, I posted people have been posting their 2016 shots because it's 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So I posted some shots on my grid, and the last one was of a New Year's Eve party.
Which was the New Year's Eve party we met.
Which was, you said, oh, I met you on that New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
And I realised I was like, at that party.
At that party.
I don't have a picture of us together at that party.
No.
Because we were brand new.
But New Year's Eve is my birthday. So this year on my birthday will be our 10-year anniversary.
That's right.
Yeah.
We can track it exactly.
Can we get married?
Was that? Yes,
that's right.
Absolutely.
That's the only reason to propose.
Absolutely. Well, do you have a ring? Because I'm interested.
No, we're not doing that anymore.
Oh, okay. All right.
Well, we've moved on from rings and.
Oh, okay.
Words.
We're more into the pajamas in front of the traitor
words,
stage.
not deeds. Quite famously.
I think that was Phoebe Waller-Bridge's New Year's Eve party we met at.
It was.
And because you had just done Crashing.
Yes, had just done Crashing. And I was, so she had a party on the 30th that would go into New Year. So it sort of became my birthday, but no one knew.
Oh,
and I was really sad because I'd just gone through a breakup.
That's right.
And Vicky Jones, she said, okay, I want you to meet somebody, dragged me to you. My first image of you were sort of draped over some kind of furniture, and in my mind you had naked men feeding you grapes, but I don't think that's actually what
it was. Exactly
was
what
that what's going on.
Yeah,
so you were there were naked men feeding you grapes, and then Vicky Jones, I don't know if she remembers this, she went, Susan, this is Deborah, this is Susan, she's usually funny. Do you remember that? Yeah, because I was like really down.
Oh, she's usually funny, but tonight she's sad.
Yes. And you were like, you were so glad, and you like sort of gave me your phone and went, give me your number.
Well, my memory is I watched you on Crashing.
Yeah.
And thought, oh my God, who is that incredible star? So some people would have seen this show, but before Fleabag.
Yes.
Although Fleabag was also in the works and Fleabag was the original stage show.
Yeah, that was
at the same time. Phoebe, seen as the star she was commissioned to write another kind of show for Channel 4.
Yeah.
And that was Crashing, and it was about people all crashing in one of those places where
guardianships.
Exactly.
Buildings,
so
in the hospital.
And so she wrote a show about that. And I remember had lots of beautiful people in it, had lots of glamorous people in it. Jonathan Bailey was in it.
Oh, Jonathan Bailey.
And you just stood out to me. And I'd never seen you before, I'd never met you. But I went, wow, you were working in an office with somebody.
I was working with... I was working in a temping agency.
That's
and then
right.
Phoebe's character
You weren't in the
works
guardianship.
No, I
hospital.
wasn't. But I did turn up to a party and I slapped Jonathan Bailey in the face.
Did you?
Yeah, big old slap, episode 1.
Wow.
Yeah.
And did you also do jiu-jitsu with Henry Cavill?
Yes, I did.
You did. See, there you go. You are constantly taking on the hottest men and physically taking them down.
Taking them down, yeah.
Physically taking them down.
Just brutalising them.
Not just at a party.
No, not just at a party. It was in an actual film. Paid work.
Pay even better. Paid to do it.
If you're going to beat Henry Cavill up, let's make it into a film.
Might as well get a check at the end.
Might as well. But yes, it was Crashing, and I'd done that, and so I was at the party with a lot of other amazing people, and you were there and we met.
So my memory is I said to you, oh wow, I know who you are. I've seen you Crashing. I think you're such a star.
Okay, I don't remember any of that. It's because I was sad. I don't remember this, but this is great.
So then we had a great conversation. We had excellent rapport. I found you incredibly funny.
Yeah.
Despite Vicky Jones's suggestion that you were not as funny as... I'm sure she was saying not as funny as normal.
Yeah, that's what she meant. Yeah, I hope.
But I thought this is what you always do. You always say, oh, I'm really not good company at the moment. If you're feeling down, you say, I won't be good company. I'll be too sad. And then I see you and you are still funnier and more dynamic than anybody else. And I go, is this you on a downer? Because it's a very high bar, Susie. So you were very funny. We had, I thought, just the most excellent rapport. And so I told you about the podcasts I was doing.
Yes, yeah.
And invited you to be in them on the spot.
You invited me first as a guest.
On Global Pillage, I think you did first,
I did do
Guilty Feminist?
I think I did Guilty Feminist as a guest first.
Excellent.
And I think it was the episode...
it was about body capability.
That was it, body capability. I was a guest first. And I think before I then hosted, I did Global Pillage.
I think we've got a clip from that, have we, Ned?
Our next guest is a wonderful comedy actor and all-round brilliant person. Please put your hands together and make general woohooing noises for Susan Wokoma.
The first time. Gosh.
Oh, the audience like you already.
Fools. That's so strange. I'm remembering it. Do you want to know something, actually, about that? Because you'll see the obviously the photo that we took, the three of us. Yeah. I'm wearing a choker. Okay, I'm a feminist, but I'm wearing a choker because I just had laser hair removal. Oh. But what you're meant to do is you're meant to take off any like moisturizer or oil before you shoot a laser onto your skin. The place I went to didn't take it off. So I have, if you look closely, really awful burns going across my neck. Yeah. So I had to wear like a little choker and I was just like, oh, body capability.
So this is an I'm a Feminist but coming out 9 years later.
Yeah.
No, 9 years later, no.
Because hair that grows.
Yes, please. I've been eyeing it up for ages. Look at that. Nice firm grip there.
You can use it to fix your mum's boiler if you want.
Yes, I can. I might take that.
So body capability, how do you feel about that, Susie?
I used to run a lot. I still do. But then what happened was I got well into it and then I managed to get a place in the London Marathon and I completed it all in one piece. 2015, it was amazing. And then after that, I was like, yeah, done. I had a bit of rest and I rested my muscles for a few days and I went on my first run and I ran maybe about 2 miles and I just went, yeah, done. I've got the medal, I proved it, I lost a toenail, I actually lost a toenail. I just thought, I've done it now. So I really did hit a sort of wall of like, oh, what else do I do with my body? But I loved running, I really, really did. And I actually started running, honestly, truthfully, not to lose weight, it was to get healthy. Because I was just at a point where I didn't recognise my body. Like what you said earlier about it felt more decorative because I wasn't using it. And I remember the first few times going out to run, it being traumatic because of what other people would say. And it was
shouting
terrible.
Insults at you?
I remember it was I'd moved back home to Elephant Castle and I was running around Burgess Park. And I think what it was the men, but it was only men, sorry. I think they just were kind of astonished that there was a black woman exercising. I really, really feel like they were shocked by the image because there was one man, I remember, one Sunday morning who went, good for you, black woman. I just thought, oh, for fuck's sake. Like, all I'm doing is trying to get, like, a good heart.
That's, You know what? I'm really glad that that's not so much the case anymore. Like, isn't it so funny? That's not that long ago. But I remember when I ran the marathon, I didn't see a lot of black women doing it. Obviously I didn't see everybody because there were thousands, but there really wasn't. And then I went to watch a little bit this year and there were tons. It was just much more diverse. And I think with social media and, the sort of good and bad of kind of like health and fitness on social media, but there's a lot more visibility. There's a lot more black female PTs. There's a lot more sort of understanding about how different bodies work with exercise, what is useful, what isn't. And it's a completely different landscape from even just then.
Interestingly, that leads to something else that you said in this episode.
Okay.
Changed when I first started running, which was like 2012, 2013. But I remember doing the London Marathon. I think we were at the Isle of Dogs. I remember just going, I've not been here. I've not been here. It's quite nice, actually. It's not. Sorry, it is. And so it's really hard to touch. I remember seeing this black woman with her little daughter. They'd come from church, like Nigerian, like proper head wrap, standing there. And I remember her pointing at me and pointing at her daughter, saying, "You can do that. See, you can do that." And I started crying. I was so emotional with that.
That was really sweet.
That is absolutely lovely. So, in a way, the reason that it's changed and you've noticed it's changed, that you don't get those comments anymore, is you
because
doing
of
it.
Me. And I am launching my protein powder. That's why I'm here.
And that little girl is probably out running now, because she might have been. She might have been 8 at the time, and now she's probably doing the London Marathon as a.
I hope so.
As a 18, 19-year-old.
Yeah, I think because it's the London Marathon, so it's London, it's my home. It's kind of I'm just going to run down this route. Blah blah. It didn't really occur to me that people actually take time out of their day to watch strangers run. Yeah. That's just like an activity. And that was really moving. I think that's like, I don't want to be down on London because London is my home, but that was like, it was a real, I mean, it still happens every year. So I guess if you go every year, you get this feeling, but it was like a real sense of like togetherness that was not connected with anything sad, really. That showed the best of London, because it's absolutely everyone, every kind of body that you can think of is running those races, and it's just people lining the streets supporting. That's literally the point.
Absolutely. I've seen giant chickens running.
I saw a man with a fridge on his back.
Wow. And these are the things we used to talk about in the early days of the Guilty Feminist before the rise of fascism.
Oh, what's so funny is...
Now we're talking about how to stop the far right.
Do you know what? As we were even hearing... I mean, and that's not to say that real shit wasn't happening. Like,
no, it was.
It was.
In
fact, by the time I was on, Trump had won.
We had the big emergency episode about
so it's
Trump's election.
But
things were happening, but we were still in the phase of being able to alternate.
Yes.
You know, really just how we were feeling, and it was an important phase for the podcast, like as well, to get to know yourself, what you're made of, physically, mentally, psychologically. All those episodes are still there in the library for people to go back and have those moments with themselves.
Well, that's the thing. I think
maybe we should do some more again.
Sometimes. Yeah, but do you know what? I think it's really easy to be like, you know, certain things or a certain way of talking doesn't serve us anymore. We should all be, you know, militants on the front row. We talk about this a lot, about like all our responsibilities in the fight of fascism. Like we all have a responsibility. Sometimes that role changes. Sometimes you're more on the front line. Sometimes you're not. I think that humour has a huge part to play actually, because it's sort of what I'm saying. We don't always have the motivation to go out there and march. Like a lot of people talk about, you know, hate marches that are going on in London. Every time I've gone on one, people look at each other. They don't want to fucking be there. Yeah. Like no one's giddy about this stuff. We would rather, you know, people weren't being bombed to pieces in different countries. And so we do whatever we can to maintain. And I do think that these episodes, I do listen to them like with so much sort of nostalgia and actually understanding that it played a role and it played an importance in sometimes I'm dealing with the absolute horrors day to day. And so now I can come into this really safe, warm pool of people and feel like I'm having myself reflected or I'm learning about something else. I think too many times we just kick out, oh, that doesn't work now. But it did. And it does for someone. We're not all the same all the time. So I'm really proud that I discovered or came into the Guilty Feminist family at that time, because there was a shift. But what it allowed me was to talk about being a woman in a way where I could really find the humour in all the shit stuff that would happen. Didn't feel like I was offered that. I think a lot of the time when you're a black woman or you're a visible black woman, people want to know, you know, what's your thoughts on the most awful things and serious things. Before, when my DMs were open, which they're fucking not now, I'd get people going, why aren't you talking about this? Why aren't you talking about that? As a black woman, you've got to be sort of this stoic sage. We're not all Toni Morrison. Like, Toni Morrison was Toni Morrison because Toni Morrison is Toni Morrison. I'm not that. I'm a clown who slaps Jonathan Bailey in Crashing. But also, I'm capable of a lot more things. And I think that's what the podcast allowed me to do. Was like, I'd never done stand-up before. The podcast.
Your first stand-up
was my first episode when I co-hosted.
Absolutely. And also, I'm going to put a pin in you not being Toni Morrison, because I think your short film is very beautiful and Toni Morrison-esque. So we're going to come back to that. But for now, your first stand-up ever.
Oh my God, we're going to start.
Now, I asked you, would you co-host? And you said, oh, I'd love to, but I'm not a stand-up comedian.
Yes.
And the co-host is always a stand-up comedian, or almost always. And I'd have to do some, I said, it doesn't have to be stand-up. You could just write a monologue or write some funny thoughts. I've had people come on before who've just done a little piece, like what I call a piece to camera, even if there's not a literal camera, although there is more. There is now. So I said, do what you want. You went, oh, no, I think I'll try stand-up, which nobody ever has ever said. Like, if they're going to try stand-up, they go and do an open mic, not recorded except by themselves on their phone.
Yeah.
No one they know in the audience. But you've gone, I'll do it at King's Place on this, big podcast with lots of listeners, and I'll have a go at that. And that bravery and that assumption of how bad can it be is one of the things that I think drew me to you. Mm-hmm. But then you just absolutely smashed that out of the park. I remember it being like, how can you just do this? And you went, no, I've never done it before. And you come and do stand-up every time on The Guilty Feminist. And often you've just been hysterically funny. And then you just never do it again. Yeah, and I've said to you, all of those pieces together.
My Edinburgh Hour.
Your Edinburgh Hour. If you put them all together and found a theme and shaped them and wrote some segue jokes, you would have an Edinburgh show.
Maybe.
Can we hear...
Oh, God.
A little bit of your first ever.
Gosh. I don't remember what it was.
I do. The show was about makeup.
Yes, okay, I think okay.
And now, I present to you the wonderful Susan Wokoma.
Indeed, I do.
Hi, guys. Lovely room you have here. It'd be a shame if I was to mention race. I've done it now. Ruined it. Deal with it. Now,
good opening line.
There's a point to this. Don't feel uncomfortable. I was thinking about makeup. Makeup you put on your skin. My skin is brown. And anyone with brown skin in this country will know the difficulty that you have finding makeup to suit you in a Superdrug or a Boots. So basically, my history with my relationship with makeup would be I'd go to Elephant Castle Shopping Centre after school, my girlfriends, we'd raid Superdrug, they'd be like, oh my God, does this suit me? No, let me do the accent. Oh my God, does this suit me? Like, how do I look with this? And I'd be like, yeah, you look good. And then I would try the makeup and I'm like, I might as well put talc on my face. And so this sort of led from about the age of 14 to 19, sort of doing a reverse minstrel show, just turning up to different parties and functions, just looking weird. But then the sort of advent of the internet, which is great, you get those YouTube tutorials which can be cringe. But for someone like me, they're amazing because you get loads of beauty tips and health tips that are things that I just wouldn't have known, like how to put like mayonnaise in your hair, which if you ever try with an afro, good luck. But all those things are great. And by the age of sort of 19, I thought that my reverse minstrel days were over.
It's good for your hair.
And then you tell a story.
Yes.
That I remember really making an impact on me.
Yeah.
Because when we wanted to do an episode about makeup, I knew that black women had very different experiences with makeup. And I decided I just want to have you on to share those experiences.
Yeah. And
you shared an experience I never could have guessed. What was that experience? Do you remember?
Yes, I remember. I was in, you know what, it's been enough time so I can actually just I don't have to be as coy. So I was cast really last minute to take over from an actress who I think she just had a baby and she was sort of struggling. It was a sketch show, CBBC sketch show. And so I got drafted in to take over from her. So it was all very last minute. It was kind of like, okay, welcome, here's the scripts, go and rehearse, all of that. So I'm slotting in doing this really, really silly, fun show that's about science and all very lovely. And then I get taken aside by our makeup artist, and I get taken to another room, and there's, makeup mirrors, lights, all of that, all set up, makeup all there. And I was like, oh, okay, brilliant, I guess. Because I've been cast last minute, they have to, find what bases are good for me and all of that stuff. So I sit down, and I can tell this makeup artist doesn't want to say what she's about to say, but she basically just says it in a really kind of bullet way and says, I've just been told for High Above that we need to make you lighter.
My God.
And I was like,
wow.
What? Yep, we just need to make you lighter. We need to bring you up because we're going to be in the studio and we just need to make you lighter. And then she proceeds to paint me lighter.
I remember you
as
saying,
I cry.
like it was like Avatar. She was like
yeah.
painting you very, very slowly.
Yeah.
And you were too young, just out of drama school, to say absolutely not. This is unacceptable.
I think I was just really shocked because it's not like I looked different to my headshot or I had, been wearing a mask and went, boo, I'm dark. Like, I'd always been my colour. Like, no surprises there. And
what was their justification?
So their justification was because we were filming all the sketches in a studio, and one of the actors who I had most of my scenes with was a black guy but very light skinned, and the other actress was very pale blonde woman, and they basically said, just to make it easier to light all three of you, we need to make you lighter in shade.
So the implication is the one who needs to change is the dark skinned black woman.
Yeah. I think my experience of that was that they would just cast a light-skinned person. That was kind of the big thing. Still is the big thing that, you saw it in like TV shows in the 90s where you would have a family, and you'd have two black parents, and then their children, the girls would be all mixed race, definitely biracial, and then all the men would be black, like really, all the boys, the brothers. There is this proximity to attractiveness that all women have to be close to. And one of those proximities is having fairer skin, having more kind of European features. I mean, I don't even use the term conventionally attractive anymore because I think it makes me feel sick, really. And like I'm sort of dogging on me and all the women that I think are extremely, extremely beautiful. People that I feel extremely beautiful. But like, I was trying to work out in that moment as this woman who clearly, this did not come from her. She was following orders. I mean, that's how it begins, right? Following orders, right? But yeah, I just was trying to figure out, like, I'm doing a children's sketch show. Do I need to be attractive for this? Like, is this what this is? Or genuinely, do we not have the technology where they could light all three of us? And then the more and more I thought about it, we're in a studio where you can control lighting. If you're shooting outdoors, you can't control lighting in the way that you can a studio. So actually, now what I know is that it wasn't about this is going to be quite difficult and quite tricksy and this is the solution. It's going, we don't have enough time and we don't care enough to light you all properly. So the quickest thing that makes our life easier is if we just pale you up. Similarly, we can't be asked to like figure all that out, so we'll just cast an actress who's lighter skinned. It's just simpler, it's just like whatever. And it still carries on, but that was the most overt. And the thing that was really hard was doing something like sketch comedy, which is, super fast. You've got to be super creative. What accent's in your arsenal? Go, 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 go. In this show, I'm dressed up like a molecule. And the next thing, I'm just dressed up as like a cowboy. And it's meant to be fun. And I was looking at my other castmates, seeing how much fun they were having. And every time I got in the makeup chair, I knew that there was a process to make me look lighter before making me look funny. And I just had to deal with that every day. It's not the worst thing that's happened in the world. It would never run now, ever. But it was a shock. It was a shock.
Yeah. And you were really young. Was your first TV job out of drama school, did you say?
No, that wasn't my first TV job out of drama school. It was one of the first. It was quite early on. It was definitely like my first like regular TV job.
It's an extraordinary thing though that they would think it was acceptable to say to a black woman, "Let's make you lighter."
But the thing is, it's not them. It's sent down the chain of command, and then you never actually know who are the people who said it. And then when you're filming, you're on set trying to be funny, but you're also looking behind the cameras and seeing like which producers are here from the channel and going, was it them? Was it them?
And are they finding me sufficiently
lit?
Can
they see me?
Light or lit? Yeah, exactly. That thing of am I not popping on the screen because the lighting is for white people? Even the iPhone is essentially, to put not too fun a point on it, racist. Because you notice if you take a picture, and Kodak, right, going back to when we used to take our young people, we used to take our film to the chemist or 1 hour photo and have to wait for the prints to come back.
Good old days.
The good old days. See what you had.
Oh gosh,
It's Kodak film was designed to light white people.
Yeah.
And so black people often just disappear in the photo. You can't really see them properly.
The thing that I would say is that on top of that is when listen, gosh, there's so many worse things going on in the world, but this is work, right? I think if we translate it to any other kind of sector, it's you turning up to work and someone going, you're not right, but you don't know who that person is. If you're behind the desk, if you're behind the checkout, you know that they're around, that somebody's got an issue with the way that you look and you don't know who it is. It affects how you do your job, right? But of course,
and it speaks to a wider societal marginalisation and disrespect.
Yeah.
This is also, it's just as fundamentally wrong. I don't think you need to minimise it. It honestly is. I was very shocked when I first heard it. I remember.
And we've spoken about this actually about makeup. Like I will on every job now. Doesn't matter how much I love or respect or trust the makeup artist, I'll always take my own bag of stuff. And I had to learn how to apply makeup in a really kind of like basic way. And I have to trust that I know my skin and I know what looks good for my skin, because I think that what we have over kind of film and television history is lots of examples of how light-skinned people look good. Whereas it took me a few years in the game to realise that I think a lot of people don't know what a good-looking black person looks like on screen because it hasn't been developed. So a lot of the time I'll have my makeup done. Everyone's like, oh my God, you look great. Then I'll watch it back and go, that was the ugliest makeup ever. And I think it's just because in this country, very specific to this country, we don't know what that is. Whereas my experience of working in the States, I mean, I've never had better makeup. I've never had better makeup and like varied different looks. I mean, goodness, I've got so many pictures, selfies from doing that job in the States because I looked unbelievable. But there is much more dense, rich evidence, screen evidence of black people, but also black people filming black people and large directors shooting and capturing us and knowing what makes us look beautiful on screen. Because also what makes you look beautiful on screen is completely different in real life.
That's
like
true.
It's it's not the same thing. You don't do, makeup that you go to the, a club on screen. It's just completely different. That's changed now. That's definitely changed. I meet so many amazing black directors and cinematographers, actually. But yeah, I mean, obviously there's still a very, very long way to go. But there's so much more people and so many examples of good work that isn't just being lifted from the States, that is being, homegrown here, which is exciting. But
really exciting. Do you have any other key memories of the Guilty Feminist over the last 10 years? Things that come back to you?
Wow. Obviously jumping out of a plane.
Jumping out of a plane!
Podcast.
Yes.
Like that was, I mean, now makes sense because podcasts are all visual.
Yes.
But then made no sense.
Absolutely.
It was just us that got to
Absolutely.
fall through
no,
clouds.
But we did have the video. I'm sure
we did. We had the footage, but
we played it.
It was
at
on
the live
YouTube,
show.
and we had to put it on YouTube.
We did, but it
Yeah.
wasn't sort of the Instagram time where you put reels on and things. I think Instagram wasn't quite used in that same way.
Yeah.
But we definitely played it on the big screen at the theatre.
We did.
And
everyone got dressed up. That was it. It was coming out and seeing everybody in fancy
Dressed
dress
up,
that I just
yes.
thought, God, this is so cool. Because of course there's the recorded element. There's the element that gets shared with millions and millions of people. But there is, I think now more than ever, it's so important getting into those rooms.
Yes.
And I think I didn't realise how special it was until, I guess, lockdown was when it really hit me.
yes, me too.
But how special those rooms were.
Absolutely.
And the freedom that people felt to come to those rooms, I really love. I really, really, those are the great moments. What people are going to say, what they're going to react to, who we're going to meet, who's going to be in the audience. That's what
The community spirit.
Yeah,
That one was really special. I think we should dress up again for the 10th birthday
I think we
show.
should. I don't know.
I think it was because everyone was down about Trump and Brexit and everything.
Yeah,
And we said,
yeah.
okay, we're doing a big show at King's Place.
so fun.
Why don't anyone in the audience is welcome to, don't have to, but welcome to dress up as a feminist hero or, come in some patriarchy fighting way.
Yeah.
And I remember the first episode, the first half, because we did two halves.
Yeah.
I dressed as Wonder Woman.
Yes.
And the second half, you and I both dressed as sort of wrens because we had the brilliant Rick Stroud on, who was
he's
talking
great.
about the special operation executives who...
Lonely Courage, isn't it, his book?
Lonely Courage,
Yeah.
exactly. Basically, the women in World War II who were just living a normal life.
Yes.
And but they spoke French, so they asked them, would you be open to being dropped from a parachute? You've never done it before.
Yeah, you work in a bakery.
Exactly. Or as a secretary or whatever. And you're going to be dropped behind enemy lines in France, in occupied France. And you're going to go and spy for us. And you might not even survive the jump.
Yeah.
So we thought, well, I rang you and said, any chance you'd be up for
Jumping out of a plane.
jumping out of a
I
plane?
can't believe he said yes.
And I remember you just immediately said, yes, I'm terrified of heights, but when else will I get asked to do this?
True, very true. It hasn't happened since.
Hasn't happened since.
No one's asked me. But no, gosh, that was so fun. It was in Reading.
It was in Reading. Because
every time I go past Reading, I go, whoop, fell out the sky.
Have you got a clip of this, Ned?
We got into the plane and the instructor pulled us close.
Terribly close.
Sexually close in a way.
I mean, we were in their laps.
7,000 feet. 8,000 feet.
9,000 feet. 10,000 feet.
My instructor, Ryan, all army, mostly tattoos, rolled us down the plane as the door opened. I sat with my legs out, just like they had showed me, dangling over the side of the plane, banana shape. My body in the shape of a banana, if you see what I mean. That's what they told me, stick out your chest and the legs go onto the plane, you see. We were high up in the clouds. Surely we're not really going to. And we were out. I was meant to look at the cameraman, but I forgot. Suddenly I was turning, twisting in the air, trying to get my feet back like they'd said, trying to get my head back, trying to get it all back like a banana, you see, but my legs were like a puppets in the wind. Ryan pulled my head to his chest as the wind flipped us over and over and over again. I knew it had gone wrong. Our cameraman was miles away. We were flipped upside down like a pancake in the clouds. I couldn't see. The air was roaring. Oh, fuck, I thought. Well, I've had a wonderful life. Susie, I leave you the podcast, I tried to shout, but I couldn't be heard. The roar of the free fall was the only sound I'd ever hear again.
When the parachute opened, my chap asked me if I wanted to do some spins. No, thanks, I said. I always got nauseous as a child on a roundabout. I didn't want to vomit in the air. The cameraman is right there, and I always hit my mark.
So true.
5 minutes later, I landed on the ground, pulling my legs up as I'd been trained to do.
5 minutes later, I landed on the ground, pulling my legs up as I'd been trained to do.
We hugged. We'd made it.
We were alive.
We were insurance.
That was great. Yeah.
And you can see the accompanying video. We will put it on Instagram.
Put it on Instagram.
Mine did go wrong. I got
Yours
caught in a
did
rip.
go wrong.
Yeah. The chap said later we got caught
Because
in
you
a
look
rip.
you look so, because I sort of landed, I was like, woohoo, and you did not look good. You look
Really?
like you look so pale.
I
you
enjoyed
threw up.
I did throw up. I
Later.
enjoyed the once the parachute was
Oh,
open.
that's great. Oh no, the
it
free
was
fall bit's
gorgeous.
awful.
It was gorgeous, but the
didn't enjoy
free
that.
fall I knew it had
didn't
gone
like
wrong because they said just try and stay flat and you're meant to fall flat. And so when we were spinning, but people said, oh, did you think you were going to die? And I was like, it's just so much faster than that. It's more visceral, more flow state. There's no way you're planning your own funeral.
No,
it's
no.
just
It's
like
just
you're
no
just,
time to think.
You're just like, it's just like you're not thinking anything. You're just like, ah.
Yeah, you're no thoughts. It's just what I didn't like about the free fall bit was like the wind just felt like it was punching you in the face. I thought, God, that is awful. And then once the parachute was released, I was like, okay, this is nice. You're gliding, you're looking at, but I didn't, and also because you don't have any, because it was a tandem skydive, so you're just strapped to a big guy who decides when you're jumping off.
Exactly.
All you can do is just see that, go, and that I didn't like. I didn't like giving a man control.
That was the unfeminist bit.
Yeah, I was not a big fan of that. But I'm so glad we did it.
I'm really glad we did it. And the idea was, would we have the courage if, again, fascism rose, would we have the courage to do these kinds of things? And to be fair, we were, as you say, it was more the men that made the decision to jump and we fell. But I liked the fact that we tried it and we went like, put yourself in more tricky situations.
Yeah.
Because I think you build resilience by doing those things. And I know it was kind of fun and it was it was a silly stunt for the podcast, really. But in another way, I think the more you push yourself, or in fact, an army man pushes you out of your comfort zone. In some ways, the more you do go, I can do stuff. I can do stuff I never thought I'd do.
Absolutely.
What's your takeaway from the last 10 years of feminism? What have you learned in the last 10 years? What do you think you didn't know when you first did your first Guilty Feminist that you know now?
Realising what were the things that I didn't know. Learning. Because I felt, particularly with racism, I felt like I had to sort of know everything and call everything out and just be in this place of like, I know, therefore that is, and it stops you being a curious person. It stops you being a interested person if you're always on the defense. What is it that Toni Morrison? I always go back to this video where it's racism is a distraction. It's a distraction.
It eats your time. I remember you telling me this in 2020.
Yes, it eats your time, and I think that
exhausts you, frustrates you, keeps you tied up.
Yes, and also just keeps you as one thing. It's not a creative thing, funnily enough. That's why it doesn't matter, how much they want to get rid of creatives. Anything that those people make will be shit. Anything that the right want to make, it will be crap, like given, because it's not curious art. And I think that over the last 10 years, I've allowed myself to soften and thaw and get things wrong and learn, like the joy of getting things wrong and going, okay, here's an opportunity, rather than I'm the person that people come to and I'm right about this and right about this all the time, I think has been really important. And knowing when actually this is outside of me, I need to go and learn. I need to go and learn before I open my mouth, rather than reactionary post or, really, learning, I think, over the last 10 years, because that wasn't a state I'd grown up with. I had to know myself and how I arrive in rooms and how people receive me from childhood. I had to be very, very aware of that, which means that you lose your childhood sometimes, a lot of the time. And so being able to kind of have that discovery within feminism has been invaluable.
Really interesting. I remember you should listen back, if you can bear it, to some of your voice notes.
You always say this.
2020.
Do you know I don't have them? I wipe my WhatsApp.
I've got them.
Have you still got them?
Of course. I don't wipe WhatsApp.
So we need to have a chat. We need to, because you always talk about it, and I remember the sensation of where my brain was, but I don't remember a damn thing that comes out of my mouth. I've got very short-term memory. I'm like, I hold it, it's there, and then I'm like, don't need it anymore.
Much like your WhatsApps. In some
Also, I change my number loads. I don't back up my phone. Yada yada yada. But you've said this quite a few times.
I've got them all. In summer of 2020.
God, yeah.
In what you call Black Square Summer.
Black Square Summer. Everyone knew where the colour black was.
Absolutely. You were having lots of feelings, and you would send me these voice notes that were like philosophical streams of consciousness that had so many insights in them that I'd never heard before. And I remember saying at the time, not now because you're not in the place, but at some point you need to write these up into a book or a show or something and capture these as a beautiful like archive, because you say you're not Toni Morrison, you say you're a clown, you say you're someone who just punches Jonathan Bailey repeatedly in the face. But those voice notes were very Toni Morrison-esque.
That's very huge of you to say.
And I remember one of the things that you said was, that I really remember was, what would Toni Morrison have written about if she hadn't had to write about race?
Jeez.
What would the Roald Dahl-esque stories from Maya Angelou look like? What would all of the kind of play and the joy and the invention that we see
the
from
other worlds?
Yes, exactly. The Narnias.
Well, it's that thing of going, I've written a something about a world set on a donut. I don't know. I mean, at this stage, I'd probably sell. But and this one going, no, you don't get to do that. What can you tell us about your trauma? Like, you get to write that. Yes. What's the sort of lesson? What's the urgent, important story that you have to tell us? But when you want to just do, something fanciful or something completely just... Like, one of the things I find really hard about watching films or television is I'll watch something and by a male director, writer, it'd be brilliant. We love it. Geez, even the white ones are churning out some good stuff. But I'll watch something and then I'll think, would that get commissioned if I wrote it? Word for word, if I handed in that script?
Absolutely not.
Would that same film get... And it's a
not.
Resounding no.
Absolutely not.
Resounding no.
No.
That's in the back of everything. I'm like, cool story, bro. But if I handed that in, would I get it? If this other woman...
100% would not.
And that's sort of what I mean. What would we be allowed... What would we have a right to explore, talk about, discuss, play with, invent if we weren't so busy,
I commissioned a researcher some years back to find out what women can get on the TV.
Oh, yeah, I remember this.
And she was really shocked by it because she was like an independent researcher. She said sometimes they're allowed to adapt a novel, but if it's their own original stuff, she said it's basically act out their own trauma. Even if it's in the form of a comedy.
But
it's
trauma,
your story, whether it's about being queer or whether it's about being depressed or whether it's about feeling lonely in the dating pool or, secret sex life. She said they like sexual revelations. And she said, or dead bodies, women, but it's got to be female dead bodies. She said, those are the things. And she said, it's so hard to find anything outside of that. So whether it's somebody writing about basically a version of their marriage or their the worst thing that ever happened to them. Exactly. She wanted to do a deeper piece of research, which at that time I couldn't afford, but at some point I'd love to work with a consultancy on this who had some money to spend on it. How many hours you have to have put into going to Edinburgh and appearing on other shows and that kind of thing before you get your own show, or being cast in, you've been cast in a lot of, high profile shows.
But that didn't happen straight off the bat.
And Nola Holmes. But now you would probably be able to write your own sitcom and appear in it if it got commissioned, which, it's not like you haven't been trying to do that.
But definitely having all that behind me.
Exactly. You would be in a different category from someone who's just got a brilliant script, but they're a writer. They're not also a performer.
Yeah.
They're not also... I'm in the same position where I get script commissions now, but the Guilty Feminist, I've done, hours and hours and hours and hours of building that. I mean, I haven't been doing it to build my profile, but the truth is that has built my profile.
Yeah.
But before I had that profile, I had scripts that people were like, this is the best script we've seen all year. This is definitely going to go. And then it always didn't, where a male counterpart who was a writer who's unknown would...
They're not going, who are they?
Him.
Like,
no,
what else
absolutely.
have they got? And also, I've seen this with a lot of younger writers who approach me, is they understand that they're younger, that not necessarily younger in age, but just younger to the industry. They could have had a whole career and then pivoted to writing, who come to me going, I need you to be attached to this. So then before they've even been paid a day, they're already sort of building the entire cast and crew, because that's the only way that somebody unknown gets anything made. And it's what you have to do as a woman to be able to tell stories is ridiculous, but we are getting on with it and we are trying. But I do think that it's who we allowed, more than ever, who we allowed to tell our stories, the pool of diversity of those voices. I mean, it's just getting narrower and narrower and narrower. And it's so easy to be like, well, that doesn't matter. That's just entertainment. Who cares anyway? Boo to celebrities. We're not talking about celebrities. It alters it. Like, if entertainment didn't matter, Joe Rogan wouldn't have been able to swing a whole election. He's a comedian. Well, do you know what I mean? Yep. It's not little. The reason why they want to buy these networks and these, these film companies, because they're powerful
it
tools.
Absolutely matters. That's
powerful
why
propaganda
Trump
tools.
is trying to shut down late night hosts.
Yes, yeah.
And why he's pressuring studios to tell different kinds of stories.
Yeah.
Because the more heated rivalries there are, the more we go, oh, it's completely normal. This and in fact desirable.
Yeah.
They don't want that because who we tell stories about tells the world who's important, who's central, how we should behave, what's acceptable, what's desirable, who's desirable.
But it will never be as good. Whatever they do will never be as good.
It will never be as good.
No.
I wrote a play that you were in, which was
Never Have I Ever.
Delightfully successful and hopefully will transfer.
Yes.
You wrote a film which you star in as well and direct.
Yes, because you've got to do it all.
You've got to do it all, and I'm delighted that you have done it all. A brilliant film called Dark Skin Bruises Differently.
Yes.
Which is doing very well in festivals.
Very well, yeah.
And I exec produced on that, which I was
Thank you
very
very
thrilled
much.
and delighted to do. Can you tell us a little bit about that film and what you're hoping for?
So it's a short film, which is about. I've always really wanted to look at the social services system within schools, and again, like kind of what you said, it is. I had contact with social services as a kid, but I've never really known how I wanted to talk about it. Or explore it, and also because I did a lot of comedy, so I was like, this isn't going to have a barrel of laughs, who wants me to do that, whatever. But this is a story about a young girl, and it's how we talk about children, how children are discussed, the sort of lack of empathy for some children, who's afforded innocence, who isn't. And there's a big question about whether she stole this £5 note at a book fair, and it's 10 minutes. This is a short story which is going to be expanded into a feature. Which is so it really was a case of like, I've just got to get on and do it. So I funded it myself, which I really don't advise. But I'm like, how else can you do it? There is no funding pots anymore for short film. When I was starting out, there used to be quite a few. They don't exist. The amount of work that you have to do to get funding for a short is exactly the same as a feature. And I think that shorts, by its very nature, it doesn't make any money. It's not like, that's not its business model. You should be giving filmmakers the freedom to risk. That is the place where they can risk. But if you do an application to certain bodies, it is exactly the same kind of scrutiny that I think is wrong. So basically, and shorts are where filmmakers get to sort of find their how they tell stories. If you're so busy ticking boxes for a corporation or for a body, for an entity or whatever, you don't know what filmmaker you are. So I really wanted to write this story and see whether I should, because I'm also somebody who's like, if I'm not the right person to direct it or write it, I'll give it to someone else and say, how can we do this? So I wanted to do that, but also I wanted to find my film family. I think that one of the things that's been very, very true of my life is that when things are really good, projects are successful, it's because I'm doing it with people that we all have skin in the game. We all really like each other. We're friends.
Absolutely.
And also when you look at a lot of the fellas, like they do that as well. They write with their chums who they went to uni with. The producers are normally their partners or their sisters. Or if you look at, Christopher Nolan, if you look at Ryan Coogler, like they know how to sort of make it close knit.
They trust each other.
They trust each other. Whereas I think with women, I've said this before, everything very quickly, everything has to be outreach. So I remember when I was first looking into directing a few years ago, and somebody wanted me to have like a mentorship chat with this director who had just directed her first feature film. The film wasn't out yet, became a really big hit. But I remember thinking, her foot is only just on the ladder. Like, I keep bringing him up, but like, Chris, if you're listening, call me. Christopher Nolan, get Christopher Nolan to mentor people. Like, this woman shouldn't be, she needs to be focused on her vision. She will do it by nature, by osmosis. Like, it will happen. And and that happens especially with Black women. It's like, oh, could you come and give us a talk about like being a filmmaker? And it will be the same company who didn't fund your film.
Yes.
Who wants you to chat about it. We're so required to be teachers before we're artists. Anyway, so I wanted to create my film family. And that's what I did. I worked with an amazing producer, Maeva Demerja, worked with you, because of course you're going to be a part of that. We talk a lot about art and writing and stories. I cast people that I know, like one of the actresses is called Stephanie Cole. I've known her since we were teenagers. We did youth theatre together. Because of various chronic illnesses, she couldn't be an actress. She had to go down a completely different route. And I thought, well, I know that I'll look after her and her needs on this set. And so I'm going to give her an acting role and a really juicy part. And so
she's so good in it.
She's
as well.
so good in it. And Charlotte Randall, Zainab Hassan, who I loved to bits, Leo Bill, everybody was just so brilliant. Our little Moiselle, who steals the show at the end of the film. So I wanted to figure out who am I as an artist without worrying about ticking boxes, about worrying what is the story that I want to tell, how do I tell it. It was made with a shoestring and lots of favours. And yeah, it was a thing that made me realise that, yeah, this is what I want to do, and this is where I feel like I am useful in the fight against everything else. It's really important to just get on and make it. But yeah, I just wish others had that opportunity to do the same.
When can we see it? Like, so the audience.
Oh, yes.
I mean, I've seen it obviously.
So you've seen it, yeah,
many
loads.
times. But
Normally with the short film is that you'll do loads of festivals. It'll take about like a year circuit, and then we'll either like release it online, or there's a lot of streaming networks that are buying shorts now. So I've got a short that I'm in that Maeva produced called The Real Thing, which is on Disney Plus. Disney, but thanks. So there's a lot of, and Netflix also have a short section as well. So we want it to have a really full year on the festival circuit before we find a home for it. But loads more festivals come.
Yay, very exciting. And final question, what do you hope for feminism in the next 10 years?
I hope feminism, it's going to be bleak, but this is the truth. I hope for feminism over the next 10 years that we're all still here. Because we can't do the whole feminism thing if we're not here.
No, agreed.
Do you know what I mean? Like, we do actually need to like not be in the middle of nuclear warfare. So like, I would really love for, but also like not just physically still here. Like, we're still here. We haven't given up. We haven't just gone, do you know what? Give me a penny. Let me start baking some bread for my husband who just runs around trying to catch pigs for my 27 children.
That is very much the future.
I mean, not for me. Hopefully my eggs would have shriveled by then.
That Project 2026 wants.
Yes.
That's the Heritage Foundation future.
Yeah.
But I actually have never felt more excited and hopeful.
Yes.
Because my thing has been, we've been trying to make it a little bit better, and now it's become so polarised. If we win, I feel like, wow, we are actually going to make a shift into a really much brighter, fairer future. And I really hope that I feel like we're all,
Yeah.
there's something to fight for now.
I saw this video, which, you guys, there's always a video, but it's this woman who sat in a car, because everyone's always sat in a car doing a video, and she's laughing. She's just like, the world is terrible. The world is awful. But what makes me laugh is that they're not going to get what they want. We're not getting what we want. They won't get what they want. It's going to be another third thing. It's what happened before, what we're hoping for and wishing for and trying to hold on to. That's been, thrown out the window. But what they want, they're not getting it either. It's a crazy third thing.
Okay,
and I think the third thing is a good thing because the old pillars are gotta go.
Yeah, I agree. I think we can build. I think people are waking up, and I think there is a hopeful future. I don't know exactly what it looks like, but again, that's the curious artist, the curious activist, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who isn't prescribing, but is more going, what could we create together? Yeah. And I truly believe if we bring the bricks, not to throw, but to build, then some
Can I throw
great
one
things
brick
can
at
happen.
somebody, though? There's a couple of people who need a good bricking. Come on.
And
one brick.
On that note, Susan Wokoma, thank you for joining us on
Thank
10
you.
for 10.
I
Love you. You have been listening to The Guilty Feminist with me, Deborah Frances-White, and my very special guest, Susan Wokoma. The Guilty Feminist theme tune was composed by Mark Hodge. The producers for The Spontaneity Shop were Ned Sedgwick and Tom Salinsky. Thanks to Gina DCO, Zainab Mohammed, and all of you for listening. For more information about this and other episodes, visit guiltyfeminist.com.